Hey guys, how's everyone doing? Hope everybody's been doing great. I am back home. I now have a little bit more time to put some energy into this stuff and back into this book. I did, however, finish the book last night reading it, and I am picking my jaw up off the floor at just the realizations that come from reading this book and discovering the the steps that you need to take to find out who your higher self is, who the source is in relation to you, and how everyone is connected, everyone and everything. Everything that we see, taste, touch, smell, and feel are just, they're all one with us. We are one with them. Everything. It is the most amazing realization I've ever had in my life since I first found the Christ Spirit, the office. And this book even touches on that, and it gives a really good clarification of the office of Christ. And they even call it the office of Christ. And this book was written back in 1988. I feel so late to the party, and not that cool late to the party. It's the holy shit, really late and dang. But I guess we are all right on time. We set it up to where our spirit self would arrive to us in that time. It's always been there, but just that we would rediscover it at a certain point in our lives, and our life would be forever changed, being able to manifest, astral project, travel to our other higher selves and meet with them and become one with them, get our chakras in line, and then to change the lined up chakras into a unified chakra field. And that's where the frequency of Christ can actually really come through you and work through you. It's just so amazing, the realizations that I'm having, because so far I've been allowing my ego to imitate the Christ office, to imitate the Spirit. But now I think I've got the right steps and the right knowledge to recognize, okay, that was ego imitating the Spirit. Now I want to get the ego to step out of the way so that the actual Spirit can just come in and unify these fields in me and unify with every other field that I come into contact with. Because all in all, the earth is just a big field, like a chakra field, spinning and rotating at a certain rotation rate. And we are the same. We have our own fields that interact with that field and everyone else's field, and every field known. Even this book that I'm reading has a field. It's just so much on a molecular and particle level, that, and subatomic, that our mind just interprets it as solid. But in all reality, it's not. In all reality, it's just a bunch of particles mashed together, vibrating at such a high rate, but yet low enough to where it looks solid, feels solid. It just gives the impression that it's of its solidity. But let's go ahead. I believe that we are on energy fields. It's the beginning of section 3. I'm going to go ahead. The first two are really small, so I might just blend the first two sections of energy fields, and yeah, dude, I'll just keep going right on through 3. Yeah, I want to speed this up for you guys. You guys just, I don't want to leave y'all hanging on the edge of your seat. I want y'all to catch up where I'm at. I feel bad for going ahead and reading the book. I had like 9 hours on a bus last night, and the only thing that I wanted to do was read this book. Normally I watch a movie and listen to music. I turned on the music and read the crap out of this book. I could not put it down. I'm ready to get the What is Light Body by Taki Ren. It sounds very promising. Let's go ahead and get on into it. Look carefully at the book you are reading. Many types of energy contribute to make up this object. First, an envelope or field space is necessary. A standing wave defines this field, literally making the space in which it exists more conducive to energy manifestation. At the other end of the scale, the standing wave of each atom is a field about 100 millionth of a centimeter across. Billions of these atoms make up the molecules of the paper and ink, again forming standing waves. Some are organized in strands of cellulose and other organic and inorganic chemicals. Their fields actually extend outward to infinity. However, the book-shaped envelope is an area of higher conductivity space, and the space outside the book field is less conductive to the energy. So the intensity of the energy drops sharply at the field boundary, but does not cease entirely. We're just talking about how everything has got a field. Within the field envelope generated for the book, the energy is supported as it bursts through a barrier to form semi-physical subatomic particles. These densified to make the atoms of the paper and ink, thus billions of conscious holy crap. Thus billions of conscious energy units collaborated. Sorry about that. Thus billions of conscious energy units collaborate in a material manifestation as envisioned by myself, the channel, the publisher, and then you, the reader. So your role, your eyes and brain decode the swirling patterns of energy held in various envelopes, and in a miracle of organization you find yourself reading this book. Of course, all this happens well outside your conscious mind. How could you ever concentrate enough to read this or any book if you consciously had to remember to keep thinking it into existence? So the book you have in your hand consists of energy of a variety of frequencies, ranging from those that make up subatomic particles to the larger waves that define paper size. And it also contains another frequency, mine. The ink is arranged in symbols, letters and words, used to convey my meaning, and these symbols have a characteristic frequency over and above that of the ink used. The processes by which my meanings are encoded in these symbols and by which you decode them to extract my meaning are phenomenally complex. You may dismiss it as just reading, but it would take an entire volume to even begin to describe this process, even if we had a language to express it. On top of that, the very high frequency associated with my function uses the opportunity of you sitting down to read this book to impart much more information into your field than you consciously absorb from reading this book. And it's going to get into physical fields now, so we're going to branch off and do 3.2. Now, we saw earlier that your body is composed of aware energy, which knows it's making up the cells in your body. We've also seen that this energy has a field which stretches to infinity, but that its intensity diminishes outside the standing wave field that contains it. So although your energy level is very strong within the envelope of your physical body, your personal fields extend far beyond the envelope of your skin. This extended field is both a transmitter and a receiver within it. You can sense potential harm long before it comes close to you, so-called instinct. Instinct is actually your extended field detecting another field, be it of a hungry tiger or a runaway truck. Similarly, you transmit energetic signals via your extended field for others to pick up. Hence the adage that fear is contagious. Some people are more powerful transmitters and more sensitive receivers than others, but you all do this without exception. It's what Ariel calls being a biotransducer. Excuse me. Now we're going to move on to emotional fields. We saw earlier that your spirit self actually manifests 3 fields: physical, emotional, and mental. Your emotional field is composed of energy that does not burst through the physical barrier into subatomic particles as does physical energy. Obviously, it interacts with your physical field, because you feel emotions in your body, and your emotions directly affect the state of your physical body. For better or worse, it is, however, an entirely separate field with a larger envelope, say 2 to 6 feet beyond the body surface perimeter, but it can be much larger in some people. So 2 to 6 feet and larger in some people. So I want to see that truck or sense that tiger coming at me more than 6 feet away, I'll tell you that. Your emotional body is a field through which energies of particular frequencies run. You generate some of these yourself, and you pick up others using your field as an antenna. Sorry, there's a lot of highlighter marks in this, and some of them are just strands underlining stuff, and it goes through the words, so sometimes it makes it a pain in the ass to make out the word. Sorry about that. It isn't. So a particular emotion can be communicated. It is important that you know first which energy you generate and which you pick up, and second, that you have control over the energy you allow in your emotional field. Suppose that you suddenly feel angry. Where did this anger come from? Of course, something within you may have triggered it, such as an expectation that another person would behave in a certain way, and he or she didn't, or that a situation would turn out a certain way and it did not. You know, that brings me to something. I've always felt that if I have low expectations for people and just situations, that I will never ever be displeased with things going on in life. If I always have low expectations for everything and everyone, then they can't disappoint me. If I don't expect anything out of people, then I'm never let down. I found that when I had high expectations for people and I expected things from them and certain situations to come about from them, then I was severely displeased, and my expectations were just, I was always let down. So when I stopped caring about how people are going to act, and expecting them to be a certain way and expecting them to do certain things, it was a life changer. I don't expect anything out of people anymore, not a thing. I have expectations for myself, which I can control that. So it's just something to think about, maybe just a little advice, but take it or leave it, it's all up to you. Everything is always your choice. The fact that your plans are thwarted results in feeling helpless, and the energy of enthusiasm you had is now stifled within the emotional field. You then feel it as anger. Alternatively, anger may spring apparently from nowhere. In this case, you may be picking up anger from someone who just happens to be in your field. The anger isn't yours, and you can dump it very easily. You can spin your emotional field to configure it out, to centrifuge it out, declaring that you release the energy back to the universe and feel it drain away. Releasing your own internal anger is almost as easy, almost keyword. But first you must realize that it is only energy, and that energy loves to move. It hates being still. Also realize that this energy is not yours, but only on loan for the moment. Spin your field and declare to yourself, This anger or fear or jealousy, etc., is not me or mine. I release it back to the universe. That's some great advice right there. Emotional energy is neither good or bad, it just is. However, you may prefer not to remove some frequency like love or joy from your field. If an emotion feels good to you, you are picking the energy up from another source, and then it's spirit is what he's saying that it is. Mental fields. The third field is the home of the intellect and operates in yet a higher frequency band than the emotional, with a higher rate of spin, and any thought you think is composed of organized energy and has its reality in that energy. Thoughts, therefore, are energy structures in your mental field, making up your mental body. This, too, is derived from a hidden blueprint, the source of those great ideas that just come to you. A thought is a real thing, but your scientists are just not able to measure it yet. Although several projects are coming close, many experiments have detected changes in leaf conductivity when an experiment approaches a living plant with pruning shears and ill intent. A thought and ill intent, yeah. A thought is high frequency energy, organized in a coherent structure. You transmit your thoughts out from your mental field just like you do from the other fields, but not as many people can pick up your thoughts as can pick up physical and emotional energies. The clarity of a thought-form structure depends directly on the clarity of conception. A radio station playing an old crackly record will faithfully transmit old crackly music. This is important because the thought forms you transmit directly affect all the fields around you. So if you are thinking clear but fearful thoughts, you are transmitting a very clear signal that you expect something bad to happen, and boosting it with fuel from accompanying fearful emotions. The universe is very accommodating in the regard and will rearrange itself to deliver. You have literally changed the energy field around you by transmitting fear-based thought forms into them. Others will pick up your fearful thought forms, usually unknowingly, and see you as a victim waiting to happen. You are literally inviting them to reinforce your victim mentality, and they may oblige. Alternatively, if you see yourself as divinely protected, dang it, I just lost my place. Alternatively, if you see yourself as divinely protected, someone looking for a victim will not notice you because the two of you do not resonate, but you will be noticed by others who do resonate to your field. That's how you create your own reality. It's all done by resonance, which is impartial to good and bad energy alike. So just like the two guitar strings exchanging standing waves, other people will pick up your fear, amplify it, and play it back to you. One fearful person in a group can amp up the fear in everyone around them, and soon the fearful person may really have something to be afraid of. Fortunately, the emotional energy of love and love-filled thought forms transmit and resonate in exactly the same way. Only more so, because they are in harmony with the nature of the universe, and things always go more easily if they are in the flow. Add to this two other factors. You are becoming a more powerful transmitter, and the universe is becoming increasingly more malleable and susceptible to your thought forms. These two factors work to shorten the time needed to manifest your thoughts. Previously, you had to hold a belief for years for it to manifest in your life, but increasingly it now takes only days. Fortunately, beliefs that are consistent with the flow of the universal truth manifest more easily than those that go against the grain. I just have one thing to add to that. If your will is in line with the source, you're always going to get what you want. Always. It's when you have desire for material things, that you don't need. They're just wants. Well, you get let down because, they weren't brought to you sometimes. Sometimes they do come. Sometimes, the universe just wants to reward you. But, not all the time. We don't always get what we want, right? So I found that when I would pray and meditate and stuff, that, I used to ask for things, that were material. And I didn't often get what I wanted in my prayers. So I often felt that like my prayers weren't being heard, they weren't being answered. But when I lined myself up with the will of the Father, the will of the source, for love and light and all good things to everyone, including myself, then love and light and all good things started coming into my life. And I could see it in a reflection of everything around me and those around me as well. So, it just boils down to line your will up. See what the junk is in your closet and just throw it out. There's nothing in there worth keeping. It all adds up to nothing when you figure out who we are and what we can do. There is so much out there universally and spiritually and on the other 12 dimensions that, make the material items here on this world just seem so pointless and fruitless. Let's go on to your mind is not your brain. Many scientists are busy looking inside the brain for functions on the human mind. This is like looking inside a radio set for the voice and wondering how the electronic circuitry is smart enough to know the stock market prices, where the freeway bottlenecks are, and the weather forecast, and what the weather forecast is, and all the other things you hear on the radio. Obviously, the radio doesn't really know these things, but what it does do very well is to detect an electromagnetic field that is coded with this information. The broadcast signal to which it's tuned. Similarly, the brain detects some of what goes on in the mental field. It is only limited by habit and what it can pick up. And you can easily stretch it a little. Sorry, I'm totally getting cross-eyed. You have a favorite station that you listen to all the time, but with a little practice, you can easily move up and down the dial. Some of you do this unknowingly and get very confused by all the weird broadcasts and static put out by other people. The brain itself knows nothing. Of course, it's a miraculous decoder and translator and an amazingly complex antenna into the mental and physical fields. It processes signals from your outer senses and correlates them to give you a composite picture of physical reality. When your eyes see an energy pattern, your brain converts the jumble of signals into images of tables, chairs, trees, and so on. But the functions of the mind, per se, like the act of thinking, resides firmly in your mental field, not in your brain. Do not think that I am belittling the brain. As a biotransducer component, it is one of the most complex electrochemical energy transistor receivers on any physical plane, anywhere. You, as spirit, developed it in response to the human species. Call for a brilliant focus in the physical plane. It is unique within the universe. So what you think of as you is actually a number of fields, each one a supporting medium for a band of amazingly complex energies comprised of an enormous number of interacting frequencies. This combination of energies, or energetic signature, defines your personality and is unique in the universe. These indescribably complex patterns that make up the you that you know are constantly changing according to the moment-by-moment shifts in the intentions and functions of your spirit self. I urge you to become sensitive to your energy, and if you're busy doing something and suddenly it doesn't seem like fun anymore, then stop and do something else. Or do something that, or do nothing. There you go. The change you felt signaled a higher dimensional shift, and the energy just dropped out of what you were doing. Similarly, you may be in a certain place and suddenly you feel that you must get out. Honor that feeling and leave. Do not apologize, just say, I've got to go now. Although the energies in your physical, emotional, and mental fields do not overlap in frequency, extremely complex resonances occur between them. For example, the energy of fear in your emotional body will stifle optimistic thoughts in your mental body. Energy also interacts within a particular body. For example, a frequency of fear automatically dampens and possibly excludes the frequency of love because of the way that they interact. Fear, be it manifesting a suspicion, jealousy, arrogance, self-deprecation, or whatever, consists of low frequency energy that blocks higher frequency energy. Do not judge fear as bad. It is a good teacher of some lessons. But I urge you to see it for what it is, just energy. It's always based on a sense of inadequacy or a feeling of being unable to cope with life or some aspect of it. And ultimately, on a sense of being separate from spirit. And then this in parentheses, note that it's only a sense of separation. You are never actually separate, nor ever could you be. That's not how the universe works. You're never alone when you have multiple higher selves. You've always got someone to hang out with. And then you have the vast higher dimensions that are all oneness. There's no more I there. It's a we. So your consciousness, is very easy to actually lose your consciousness to the drift out there. It's all oneness. So you can always tap into that and feel all that unity. Tap into the source and just feel one with everyone and everything. You're never alone. It's a great miracle cure for depression and loneliness. Yeah. Fear can be of such high amplitude that it swamps your entire field and actually distorts all emotions and thoughts. With this distorted perception, you interpret even acts of kindness towards you as, say, others' self-interest. Fortunately, as we shall see, the emotion of love acts in the same way and can swamp all three fields. Probably the thing that most determines how you feel and how well you function is the degree of alignment between these bodies. This is in parentheses again as well. Remember that a body is the combination of a field and its contents. So when you're aligned, your bodies are symmetrically positioned around your physical body and are spinning at the rates that are best for you. After a big row with someone, your emotional body may be literally bent out of shape. Or after some intense brain work, your mental body may only be located around your head and spinning erratically. Later on, we'll look at some techniques for realigning your bodies. But for now, it's enough just to know that you've got them. The next section is the chakra system. It's also a part of section 3. But I will go ahead and just stop it here, and because it's 29 minutes, I don't want to keep you guys for too long at a time. But yeah, I'll go ahead and I'll just go ahead and record the next video and just upload them separate. You guys have a great day. Bless you, and peace be upon you.